Hey Kenneth, it's me again. I'm going to talk about a couple things real quick, just where some basic features are on the trailer, just so it helps you out for the first couple weeks. After that, you won't even need to see this video anymore. But while I'm thinking about it, I want to talk about maintenance on the air conditioning unit. So the air conditioning unit requires very little maintenance. Only thing that really needs to be done, and I would do it after every other trip or something like that, and actually you can see a little bit of dirt up there that needs to get wiped off. But if you pop this screen down and you can open this up and it'll help you pop it down. You just got to be careful. You can look at the owner's manual, it'll show you, but there's some tabs in there. So you can pop it down a certain way. You'll see that there's a filter that sits inside of here. You just want to pull that thing out. Well, actually sits on top of this plastic piece, and you want to take a light vacuum and vacuum it off, because it builds up dust pretty quick, and then it'll start to affect your airflow in the camper. Something else while I'm also thinking about it is this is your stove. You'll notice that it doesn't have a piezo igniter on it, so you got to use the old-fashioned lighter. And if you have just come to the trailer and you just turn your propane tanks on outside, you need to, it's going to have to hold down for a while on light, because you know the deal. You got air in the lines. It takes a while to get the air out of the lines. And sometimes you'll start to think that something's broken when really it's got to clear the air. But before you do that, you need to come outside and you need to push this in and pull it down. See how that looks? That is open. So you want to do that before you turn any gas on inside. So that's open. Then you're going to come inside. And again, I don't have power here, so you're not going to hear anything. But you want to flip on the fan right here so it starts exhausting outside. Then you can go forward and light your burners. Again, if you just turn the gas on, it'll take a little while to get the air out of the lines before the propane actually makes it to the stove and is ignited. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the fan off, because let's pretend we're done using it. I'm going to come back out here and close this. And you want to make sure this is closed before you travel. All right, the other thing is that the refrigerator, which we might as well even talk about a refrigerator now. We're on a roll. You get over the refrigerator. I keep it on auto. That way the refrigerator will determine whether it's gas or electric that's required. When you hook up power to the outside, it automatically goes to electric. But when the electric runs out, it'll switch to gas. But the same thing happens with this, in that if there's air in the lines because you just turned the gas on and you haven't worked the air out, you're going to get a check light. So if you get a check light here, that means that something's going on. It isn't always a bad thing. Actually, it usually just means that the refrigerator tried to ignite the gas to start the system, and it tried several times and it wouldn't ignite, so the check light comes on. In that case, turn it off, turn it back on again, make sure you have a gas supply, and obviously make sure there's gas in the gas tank, or propane in the propane bottle, whatever tank, and then try it again, and it'll most likely it'll ignite. One thing inside this refrigerator, this is a small but important little piece. In the back of this refrigerator, there is this little drain line, and you see you can pull it out. I'm not going, or no, it comes disconnected from the top. So you need to keep an eye on here and here and make sure that it doesn't disconnect. One time my wife and I overfilled the refrigerator, and something happened and wasn't getting propane, so it started to defrost. And so we had too many groceries in there, and one of them knocked the condensate line, which that is. So it started to defrost, and all the water, instead of running outside, which is out this little hose or runoff hose here, it ran into the bottom, and then it got on our carpet. Not much, but just check that hose periodically and make sure, the condensate hose, to make sure it's connected. Especially when you go to thaw your refrigerator, you want to make sure it's connected so it drains out. All right, let's go outside. All right, starting from the back of the trailer, a couple things. These lights, they go out fairly regularly. I have extra light bulbs I'm giving you. I put LED light bulbs in one of them. I think this one, or actually I think I put LEDs in both. I'm not going to try to open it, but it's just got little friction adapters here on the side. All you do is just get a little plastic thing and spread a little bit, and these lights will pop right out like covers. But I put LED lights in here, and I got spares for both. A spare tire is here, obviously. Coming around, we got this here. This is the tank flush valve. So when you go to empty your gray and black tank on the other side, you want to have a hose hooked up to here, but do not put water through here until you have one of those valves opened on the other side, because the pressure will be so great going in that it could mess up some of your fittings. You want that valve open so that when it starts to blow through, it's not hitting a wall, it's blowing through freely. Here's cable. So this is cable for outside TV. You hook cable up to come into the trailer on the other side. Got an outdoor receptacle here. This is drinking water only. Of course, as you and I talk, we don't drink. And then every year I also flush with bleach. But this is where you put a hose up and fill the tank. The tank will hold 31 gallons. And then, as we just talked about a second ago, underneath, this is where you drain the tank. So the tank's under here. You fill here, drain here. All right. This is for the refrigerator right here. If you ever walk by and you see water pooling here and here, you might want to check to make sure it's not thawing out. And you'll know it's running sometimes because if you stand up right next to this, you're going to feel heat. And also, when it's trying to start, you'll hear the lighter or the igniter igniting down here. You'll hear pop, 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 and then you'll hear it, the gas ignite. But if you hear it, keep hearing pop, 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 it's trying to light. And if it doesn't do it after a while, like I said earlier, the check light will come on. And you need to check on what's going on with the gas, make sure you got enough. Okay, get your outdoor speakers. Got 2 of them. Remember that zone B on the inside. You got your awning. Be careful that this door is not opened more than 90 degrees, because if you open it too far this way, the awning, you can see it'll go. You don't want the awning to smack into it. All right, of course, you got your basement. Here you got a catch here and a catch here for a bar, and it's a white bar. I'll give it to you when we get to the house. All right, coming around to the front. All right, here you've got, now this is where you're gonna get city water, or when you go to a campground, you'll take your water hose, you'll hook it up to here, and then you'll hook it through a water filter, and then you'll hook it into, or through a pressure regulator, which I'll show you in another picture or video, to make sure that you don't get over about 50 PSI so you don't blow your fittings like we talked earlier. Okay, and then in here, we're gonna close this up. This is your water heater. You already know about your shower. All right, satellite hookup. This is where you hook into the cable for the campground and get whatever channels they subscribe to. No, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. This is if you got to hook up to a satellite. This is park cable, so this is just hooking into regular old cable. So you're going to want to get a Cat 5 line to do that. This is your power. It says 13 amp. But, you know, you can run off a 15 or 20 amp system because of the air conditioning feature that I put on it, which is something I'm super excited about. All right, don't forget about this. It's a catch that'll hold the door closed. Sometimes when it's on windy days, I always forget about this daggone thing, and I'm fighting with the door trying to load and unload, and then I always remember after I unload everything that I could just connected it to here, and I wouldn't have to fight with the daggone door. All right, so we're gonna go underneath for a second and get down here. I used to be able to get down a lot faster than I can now. So underneath, each side has these brake cables. And you can see these little connectors. What you wanna do, what in the world is that? Oh, no, it's okay. Okay, so you wanna make sure that all those connectors, all those wires going in, there's a better picture, sorry, are connected. You don't want any of those things to be broken off. The other thing I want to show you is the lift that's on this trailer. So the lift is a very simple lift. Well, it looks simple, but it was a little pain in the butt to get. But if you see this piece right here, this bracket, this rectangular bracket that goes around, that's what lifted the trailer up. So it basically, the axle went down, these spacers got between the axle and the frame to lift it up, and I think it was 3 inches, about 3 inches. And there's one on the other side, you can see it right there. There's the 2 bolts And of course there's bolts on the bottom. But what you want to do, I periodically, before I go on a long trip, I come in here and I'll look at all these bolts here, underneath, right? I'll make sure that they're not loose. Same on the other side. And then I'll also check these brake lines to make sure that there's no loose wire or anything underneath it, so that you don't have issues braking going down the road.